is what's best for business.
I gotta go take a big hairy dump.
Oh my God!
Tonight's main event, a tag team match.
Yes!
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. We've got myself here, Turbo Tony. We've also got Matt Marsander. How are you doing there, Matt?
Yeah, not too bad today, Tony. So
yeah, not too bad. I know I had the problems with the burger last week. I had a curry, so now I'm a little bit scared because I haven't got.
So I hope balance out.
I haven't got a good history of curry. I should probably watch what I eat more before I do these things, especially as the gradual progression of what we're talking about each week just tends to get longer and longer and longer. So
that's true.
Yeah, I'm playing with fire. Maybe that's a little bit too literal than what I think of anyway, but.
Well, hopefully we don't get the burn.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. If you've never, well, obviously you know what you're clicking for here. If you've seen it in the description, this is a wrestling podcast. It's our third week of doing it on the relaunch. We're having a lot of fun here. And this week was a big week. We had the Slammy Awards, and also we got TLC this week. So this is probably going to be a really bumper episode. We're probably going to be talking about a lot of stuff. That's why there is no topic this week, because we just probably won't have time for it. So no extra topic this week. We'll go back to that next week if there isn't loads of other stuff going on or anything like that. I know there's a few little extras that we have to go into this week. A few of them I actually want to just talk into before we actually just get on, because I know I'll end up forgetting it there, Matt. There's actually news recently that there was a footballer over here. Well, I say over here, I live in Ireland, but anyway, in England.
Europe. We'll go with that.
Yeah. Well, you know him as a soccer player if you're American. But basically, he's actually quit and now he's gone to WWE. I haven't got the name off the top of my hands, but he basically had a lot of injury problems, which wouldn't really hurt him in he's got knee problems, whereas if you've got back problems, you probably don't want to go to WWE or wrestling anyway. But apparently, he's gone off to WWE now, so that will be a bit of an interesting story to look up on.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, so I mean, I apparently, as far as I know, he has been signed. I don't know all this story yet or anything like that, but I'll tell you what, we'll look more into it next week if you guys are interested, and we'll
I was gonna say, well, give it a couple of weeks. We'll see him on NXT.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, so big episode of Raw this week. We had this was the final show before TLC. It was also the Slammy Awards, so really a lot to get through on this particular show. In WWE's point of view, because they obviously want to do the Slammies, and they want to go through their sort of format that they did for the Slammies, but also you've got to give enough time to kind of promote the show that's coming up. So this is one of those sort of Raws where I didn't actually mind it being 3 hours long. I'm very critical of Raw being 3 hours long. And what do you think about the whole 3 hours thing? Are you kind of against that, or do you think?
I'm not necessarily against the 3 hour Raw. I mean, you get sort of things to fill it, then it's okay. But then sometimes it's just we have 3 hours, let's just fill it with nothing.
I think with the 3 hour Raws, I mean, I'm not a big fan of them, only because if it's a good show, then fair enough, it's a good show. But I think with the 3 hour Raw, if it's a bad show, it makes it an even worse show, sort of thing. You got 3 hours of really bad television, on that you have to watch basically to get through. And but that's my only thing about this. With this particular show, I don't really have a problem. Any of these kind of gimmicky shows, I've got no problem with them bumping up to 3 hours. I know this would be 3 hours regardless, but they say in a perfect world Raw was 2 hours and they made this. I don't have a problem with this being 3 hours anyway. So, but anyway, the Slammy Awards. I'm going to rename this show for you, Matt, because I think this was the Daniel Bryan Appreciation Night.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that.
There was a lot of Daniel Bryan on this show, and all for good reasons. But obviously they were close to his hometown. So.
Yeah, I mean, as they sort of decided to mention, it was it's only an hour down the road sort of thing. It's good.
And the fans were definitely hot into him as well. I mean, that was
definitely
almost to the detriment of a lot of other people on the show, but I'm sure we'll get into that.
The final section.
Yeah, so we'll go into that. But yeah, this was, for me, you can call this a Slammy Awards. For me, it was definitely the Daniel Bryan Appreciation Night. And I think the guy deserves it because he's been a really hot topic over the last, I'd say, well, he's been pretty hot anyway and over, but I mean, the last 6 months of this year, wow, he's been really sort of...
There's definitely been a rocket up his arse for his birth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's even kind of taken away from the fact that WWE haven't exactly pushed him up to the moon either.
That's it.
the fans are still really hot into this guy, which is interesting. And so, if the fans are hot into him, this is exactly how I think they should start up Raws. You put your big guy out there, get a big pop, and get the crowd going. They did that in this show. Daniel Bryan against Fandango, which was a great way, in my opinion, to get the show starting hot. It was. I thought it was a decent enough match. What was your thought about the quality of the match?
I think you put it down as like an average match.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad.
It wasn't particularly sucking. It wouldn't. I mean, it's an opening match. I mean, you've got Daniel Bryan, so that's all you need to get the crowd sort of happy to get started.
Yeah. And I'm not exactly fully 100% sold on Fandango's abilities in the ring either, so maybe that was as long as Fandango was comfortable to go before, we know Daniel Bryan can go much longer.
Sort of fails a little bit,
yeah. But, this wasn't a bad match. It wasn't long enough to be a noteworthy match. They had a really good segment, though. They had a really good spot in this where Daniel Bryan jumped off for a drop kick and got powerbombed right into the mat. I know it looked a little bit botched, but the way that the camera did it didn't look that bad, and it still looks pretty decent. I still was like, whoa, that's a pretty cool little spot that they did there, actually, and it's one of the more simple ones that you actually see in a lot of local wrestling shows that doesn't get used in WWE that often, the reversal powerbomb when they jump off and stuff like that, but...
Yeah. So it's like a forgotten one, but there we go.
It was very good, yeah. Bryan obviously got the win. You wouldn't expect anything other. I mean, Fandango, as far as I know, doesn't even really have a match on the card. So
there we go, and then it obviously leads off into this Sunday at TLC. Yeah. Another great Wyatt promo.
Oh yeah, I've made a note of this, Matt. I thought Bray Wyatt just delivers. Yeah, he must be one of the most consistent promo guys that they have at the moment, because every single time that little segment comes up, I can't really explain it, but you know what I mean, where the Wyatts are about to come on the screen and you get all the flashing images and the little thing at the end, sort of thing. I hope I didn't scare anyone there. Every single time that happens, you're going to get something really cool coming on the screen or whatever it's talking about, and that was exactly the same for this one, and basically it was a little bit. I mean, if you look at the content of the promo, it's pretty much what he's been saying all along, but the way that it's delivered is just brilliant. That he goes along the lines of saying to Bryan that I know there's a monster inside. You're testing my patience. You need to join us, and
it was very much a sort of like, how long are you going to draw this out, Daniel? It's going to happen. Just like, I'm spending all this time when all you need to do is just accept.
Yeah. Which is brilliant. I like this, bro. I like this. I mean, this is going to be an interesting match. I think that what you said last week, I kind of agree with the fact that because they've got another 3-on-1 handicap match on the show, it kind of makes it a little bit... it makes it seem as if TLC is just a 3-on-1 handicap pay-per-view, you know what I mean? But now I think that it's going to be interesting anyway. I've already made my views known on where I think that this could go. That I think that maybe a lot of the stuff that Wyatt has been saying is in regards to taking down the Authority and everything along those lines. I think the best thing that they could do with a faction like the Wyatt family, who, while they're heel, the crowd still cheer for them because they're interesting, is to make it so they blur the lines between being a heel and a face. So yeah, they might attack a lot of face people, but they also attack heel people, and they're just genuinely scary guys, no matter who you are on the roster. Yeah. I think that they can do that, and that would be fine. I know some people may disagree, but no, I think that's okay. I think that if you do that and you do it well, and it comes off well, and you just have this faction that don't ever have like that one stamp on them, whether they're face or heel, I think that these guys are the must-see faction for the next year, the next 12 months.
Definitely.
So we'll go on to the first Slammy of the night, hosted by the King and Booker T. When I say hosted by King and Booker T, there really was nothing of them really on this show.
They literally sort of turn up, or sort of like on the hour, just like, we're still here.
Yeah, it pretty much was, wasn't it? It was like they haven't been on the TV for about 40 minutes. They're going to be on there just to do a little segment, then they're off again, and it served its purpose, but it's just a way to get King on TV, I guess, and give him a break from being on commentary. But but the real story of this particular segment was Road Dogg and Mr. Ass, the New Age Outlaws. They presented the award for LOL Moment of the Year. And do you know the reference behind their costumes, Matt? Do you know?
Dumb and Dumber, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know if they were particularly going for that, but I thought these guys looked badass. Why not go out
Oh,
and
that
have
is
a bit of
awesome.
fun?
There's only one thing I've thought about it. It's just like, granted, with the cheering of one more match, that would make me happy. Because they were awesome when they had those last couple of matches.
They did have a few matches after, I think it was like the 1000th Raw, wasn't it? I think they had
Something
a couple
like
of
that, yeah. But are they not allowed to say suck it?
I don't know, I guess... Is that really PG or not? I think that's probably a whole conversation in itself, isn't it, really? What is PG, what isn't PG?
Yeah, but like even if they don't do the whole... like even if they're not even allowed to finish it off with suck it, I was kind of disappointed without getting the full sort of... like their full introduction, as provided by Road Dogg.
No, I didn't think it was that bad.
I missed it.
I know that
it was a lovely little thing. I was just like, oh, I want it.
I think it's quite funny though that they were doing that when DX came back as the tag team as Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and they were doing that bit as part of their spiel. And now obviously Road Dogg and Mr. Hasse are doing that as well. But like it was. No, I thought they were okay, and then I think it's quite funny. I think they actually did this particular promo before, where Road Dogg mentioned that Billy Gunn is just no good on the mic, and he just doesn't let him talk, and then obviously just kind of played off that and everything.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I loved seeing these guys out there. There was, like I said, there was a huge chant of one more match during their segment. I wouldn't mind seeing these guys in the ring again. I think they can go for a small. If Goldust can do it, these guys can definitely do it.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And wouldn't that be just a flashback? Wouldn't it, having a Road Dogg and a New Age Outlaws match where they challenge for the titles against Goldust and Cody Rhodes? Or stepping into a time machine like 10 years in the past.
I didn't do it, but there we go.
Yeah. Right, so LOL moment of the year, and it went to the Rock concert.
Which is agreed.
I mean, of the nominees, I'm sure that was the funniest, and I definitely got a big laugh out of it and everything. But come on, why is there no kosher butcher in this category, Matt? You tell me. Why is there no kosher butcher in this category?
He didn't make the cut.
You know what's brilliant about that? People listening, we literally did not. I didn't even tell you I was going to come out with this. I literally just done my notes about half an hour ago. That's quick off the mark there, Matt. Well done. I'll give you great props for that.
Do not care for the kosher butcher.
Oh dear. Okay. So yeah, fair enough. If he wins, it's there wasn't that many sort of LOL moments. The sort of funny segments haven't been that well done.
It's like when Vicky got fired.
Yeah, that wasn't really.
When Vicky had a tantrum.
I don't remember that being funny. I just thought that was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Personally, so.
It's like, who do you think you are? Well, that's Vince McMahon. You shut the fuck up.
But yeah, first award of the night, fair enough, kind of did its job. But the first, the match after, not the first match, but the match after that was Santino versus Sandow. Very, very short match. This one,
It was really unnecessary.
It was like you could tell why it was there, but it was like to try and get Sandow over as more of a competitor.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't think Santino does that for him. It was too short, really. It wasn't really great. And I've got to say, I mean, I'm a big fan of Big E Langston. We did kind of, I wouldn't say bury his performance last week. But I just thought his work pretty much showed up dead on arrival, really, for the second week in a row. I thought him on the commentary was as dull as it was last week. I thought when he got into the ring and actually had his face-to-face with Sandow, I thought that was okay, but I don't know. There's better from this guy.
Either Sandow's tall or like Big E's really little.
I don't think Big E's really, really tall. I don't think he is, at least. I think he's a very stocky guy. I don't think he's in the higher 6 foot or anything. I think Sandow's tall enough, but yeah, I like the confrontation in the ring. It's sort of weird because like we know I've seen Big E Langston's work on the mic outside of WWE, and I don't want to repeat myself over what we said last week, but he is better than what he's coming out with on commentary, and I hope that maybe they give him time with the mic away from an interviewer where he feels he has to be WWE all over the place, but yeah, maybe it is still along those lines that we said last week, that maybe he's trying to play it safe. He's not 100% set in his role in the company, so he doesn't want to go out of the lines, and he's basically being the robot that they need him to be at the moment. But he's only so long that he can continue doing commentary or promos this poor before people write him off as another mid-carder.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's my worry with Biggie Langston. Like, maybe he feels like he can't do the stuff that CM Punk can out of fear of, I don't know. I just think that he needs to improve on that. Maybe it's just the role that the WWE have put him in, but I think he's definitely better than what he's coming out with at the moment anyway. But in terms of the match, this was a throwaway match, as you said. It was too short really to be considered anything apart from that. So would you agree with that? I mean, I thought this match was alarmingly short. I don't know about yourself.
I couldn't say. The only thing is, after watching NXT, I sort of stuck waiting for better things. And it's like, I mean, yeah, okay, obviously the Intercontinental Championship's just sort of the starting point. Most people have to start off there. There's only a select few that literally just went straight into the runnings for the big titles.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just a wait and see, really.
Yeah. We always have to remember, maybe along those lines, that with the heavyweight title basically being defunct after this rivalry, that the IC title, well, I know obviously they still got the United States title, but that's going to have to be considered the second tier belt, you know. So maybe that'll go into it a little bit more. Maybe they'll show a little bit more respect to the IC title. I think they've kind of crapped all over that belt the last couple of years at least. But that's just the way things are nowadays. But we'll see how it goes anyway. We'll see how they go along. That's going to be quite interesting, really, to see how they treat the IC title after the unification of the main belts. But I mean, personally, would you want the IC and the US titles to be unified, or would you rather them be separate? Or
I still keep them separate, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think if they were to only have what is essentially 4 titles, they'd have the unified main title,
yeah,
the unified second title, tag team and women's.
I would prefer that, just personally.
You reckon?
Yeah.
It's just, my only problem would just be because of the sheer size of the roster.
And I think also what you're thinking of as well, which is one thing that makes me think otherwise, is the amount of hours obviously they have to do of television a week. To have that, but I think having less belts builds up the prestige, and I think that's one of the things that they have to work on over the next 12 months, is building up the prestige back to the belts that they have, and I think you can't do that if you have too many belts on the roster. So that's just me personally. I can see where you're coming from, but we're not exactly going to agree on everything, so anyway, we'll move on. The Shield presents the Double Cross of the Year award.
Yep.
I thought this promo that they had, I loved them coming out in the suits, so I thought that was pretty cool and everything like that.
It's like, they know where the Titantron is.
Yeah, they I love the fact they still came through the crowd though later on and everything, But, this promo that they had before they did it was just ever so slightly sowing a little bit more seeds between Reigns and, well, in this case it was Ambrose, because Ambrose cut off Reigns. They're doing this thing every now and then that they're cutting him off, or Ambrose will say that he's the only one better and everything. They're sowing the seeds, They're not just... At least they've got a long-term track on where they want this to go.
Plan about it.
Yeah. And
at least it's not literally just like, next week it's just going to be done and everyone's going to be like, why? Because everyone can sort of slowly see now that it's just like starting to get to that point where it's like, you're taking the piss.
Yeah. And like I said, we've gone in this in our first episode, that Reigns is the future of this company, and whether you like that or not is irrelevant. He is the future of the company. He is going to be WWE champion in the future, bar any sort of Mr. Anderson-esque issues. I remember that guy was due to have like the Money in the Bank. They were going to put the strap on him. He was going to shoot it to the moon, but then he all the problems backstage ended up getting him fired.
Yeah.
So bar any problems like that, which I think. Roman Reigns has just got it all. He's going to be ended up booted up to that sort of status, and they're sowing the seeds for the eventual split. But they came out and obviously they did this award, and HBK won the Double Cross of the Year award. Yep. I didn't agree with this. I think Mark Henry's speech was just phenomenal. I loved Mark Henry's speech.
His little promo.
His promo where he faked his retirement.
Like, oh yeah, I'm going. No, I'm not.
I don't know about you, but I thought the guy was going to retire there and there, and he got me. It's very rare by wrestling nowadays that I'm got. You know what I mean? That I'm genuinely, whoa, they suckered me in on this one. And Mark Henry isn't exactly known over his career for being a great promo guy. But if we had to wait 15 years for him to deliver one just unforgettable promo, then I'm more than happy, because that promo was amazingly well done.
Now, I'd still sort of side with the fact that HBK backstab. I mean, it's solely because of the crowd reaction for it. And everyone was just like, oh my god, this is definitely going to be it, this is definitely going to be it, we've done it, oh.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I think then, if you're going on that along the lines, and I'd say the Triple H one would be there, because I think that was where he pedigreed Daniel Bryan and everything like that.
Yeah.
Because it pretty much shut up the entire crowd, sort of thing, and they're all cheering. But no, I mean that was just my pick anyway. I just wanted to add a quick note onto that Mark Henry promo, because that was just amazing. If you actually missed that for some reason, just go back and watch it. I mean, it's not as impactful now because obviously the guy didn't retire, but I was suckered in, and I know a few other people were as well. They did not see that one coming, which was quite strange.
Yeah.
But when HBK actually came out and got the award, he wasn't getting really much from the crowd at all, and I think that's mainly because of the fact that it was a very Bryan heavy crowd. So.
Oh yeah, like there's no. It's definitely set in the ways that was going to be the only person that they'd care about. It's just like, oh, you went against Daniel Bryan. Do not care for you.
Yeah. I mean, he got a little bit from the crowd later on, but for this one, he was trying to crack a joke. I don't think it was very well sort of delivered, but he obviously didn't get much from him at all, which is strange for a HBK return and everything along those lines.
That's true. Yeah.
But no, anyway, so the next match was Miz versus Kofi Kingston. So Matt, I actually want to ask you a question.
Yep.
What is the most lethal finishing move in WWE today?
Well, they've banned it, haven't they?
So you say the pile driver, would it be the Stone Cold Stunner?
Well, the stunner, yeah. It's very definite.
The attitude, the attitude adjustment from
even going as far as the attitude adjustment, yeah. Or
go to sleep,
the
maybe.
Rock Bottom, yeah. The GTS,
yeah. No, you're wrong. Actually, it's the Schoolboy.
Oh,
yeah. Because every single week of Raw, I guarantee you will see one person beaten by the Schoolboy roll-up pin. And this is what happened in this event. This just kind of made me realise that more people have been pinned by the Schoolboy than the Rock Bottom over the last 12 months.
Yeah.
Which is quite ironic, really, isn't it? Quite funny. But yeah, go back and watch the last 5 episodes of Raw. I guarantee you there is at least one Schoolboy roll-up pin in every single one of those shows. I'm actually going to go as far and guarantee that there's one victory done this on the pay-per-view with the Schoolboy roll-up pin.
Yeah.
I'd be very sure.
Definitely take a stab in the dark and agree with that.
Yeah. So, the most lethal finishing move in WWE history, the Schoolboy roll-up pin. May people fear it as much as the Tombstone pile driver.
The thing is, though, I've literally got in my notes, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't, bad match, aggressive Kofi is still boring Kofi.
Yeah, you finally come over to my side, Matt. Welcome to the dark side. I've not been a fan of Kofi Kingston. Yeah, it's the same thing. It was like, I've made a note, my note basically is the same thing. I basically said here that the rivalry means absolutely nothing except to waste time on my television. And it's the same, really. There was nothing except for I know last week we had the most epic slap of all time, the women's finisher slap from the Miz, and it leads to this. I don't know where this is going. I don't really care where it's going. If I see these guys go against each other again on Raw, I'm very much inclined I'm going to skip it, because there's actually no point. There's nothing they can do now to get me invested in this promo. So
yeah.
So next, anyway, we had Eve Torres made her return briefly to present the Diva of the Year award.
Yep.
And I want to talk a little bit about this award because the Bellas won. You and me obviously are big fans of AJ Lee, and we would want to go. A lot of people have been saying, "Oh, this is obviously fixed." I'm not inclined. I don't know. I don't really want to go.
I'm not inclined to agree that it's fixed, but I think it's safe to say that everyone who was in the crowd that night didn't vote for the Bellas.
Yeah.
Because they got booed.
I basically
The
what
crowd could not care. It's like the Bellas, and everyone's just like, what?
It wasn't even so much that it got like berry booed. There's no one really cared, did they? They didn't really give me any sort of response.
And I was just like, oh my god, guys, thank you. And it's just like, don't care.
There's
Go
just a sea
away.
of just unpleasant faces in the crowd, just looking back at them. But yeah, I don't, like I said, really, is it really like WWE, or is it just the general wrestling fan base that failed to spot AJ Lee's really phenomenal 12 months? You look at when she started, when she was in the main event picture, where she turned heel and she went with Dolph Ziggler, and then she ended up breaking off with Dolph Ziggler and winning the Divas Championship. And
She became manager of Raw.
Yeah, well, that was last year anyway.
Well, yeah. Okay, yeah, so over the space of the year.
So, but over the last 12 months, she's had a really good 12 months. But, maybe, I don't know. Would people really be that bothered about the Divas division to vote for AJ Lee? Or are you going to get the general wrestling fans are going to be like, I'm not going to vote for AJ Lee because she's the bad girl or whatever along those lines? I don't know.
Probably.
I did make a reference. We actually spoke sometime during the week, and I actually said this, that I didn't think that AJ Lee would win because... I think the general wrestling fan base is something that a lot of people don't even think about. But there's the majority of people that watch WWE aren't like you and me. They're not 100% clued into the backstage or how the wrestling industry works or the lingo or anything like that.
Yeah.
And those people would vote for the Bella Twins because they're obviously on fucking Total Divas, and they're all over, Raw each week as the good girls recently anyway, and
that's it. But I just don't. I don't agree with it. I think it was sort of ignorance of some people to even just sort of suggest that the Bellas. I don't know whether it's meant to be like Diva of the Year in the terms of best diva, or just like who you prefer.
Yeah, and I thought it was a bit weird that you have both the Bellas win the Diva of the Year award.
Yeah, that's Divas of the Year, and that's wrong.
No, I personally, I think it would be quite interesting if they had the pair of them.
I wanted to see Natalia.
Yeah, and maybe like Brie Bella won, and there's like an argument backstage about why did you win? But anyway.
But then to be perfectly honest, of any two, at least the Funkadactyls didn't get it.
Yeah, that is. Oh, imagine if That's a fate beyond
death.
death.
I'd actually probably write myself off of TNA of WWE and actually go to TNA if that was the case.
And give them all my money and tell them, please, just get big and destroy WWE so we never have to see that again.
I don't want to see Cameron.
A little bit of a debacle there. I think a lot of people just see through that, but the reason why I just wanted to say that anyway and just didn't go, everyone's stupid, is because like the general wrestling fan base, they do have a lot of power when it comes to these voting things. So, they probably did vote for the Bella Twins, which is depressing in its own sense. But
yeah,
we had a 4-on-4 tag match to follow that, which was the Rhodes Brothers, Mysterio and Big Show against the Real Americans and the newest laxative medication in the world, Rybaxel.
Designed like a wrecking ball to your scrotum.
Your scrotum?
To your scrotum? I'm so done with the scrotum. To your anus.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
That's hardly perfect.
Yeah. You've ruined the whole recording, Matt. Let's go back to the start and do it again now. We're at 30 minutes that we're in. No, I'm joking anyway. But yeah, doesn't Rybaxel really sound like some sort of really bad medication?
Probably the worst choice of name. It's just like, we need to come up with something. Well, it's Ryback and you're Axel. And there's an ack in here. So, bang.
Rybaxel. I don't even reference how bad it was in the commentary booth. And when they're doing that, they just don't give an absolute two shits about either of these guys. And
I'm looking at the card for TLC, and it doesn't say Rybaxel. It's Ryback and Curtis Axel, because it's even like WWE are just like, don't be a dick.
No, this isn't gonna work. But talking how Rybaxel sounds like a laxative, their futures are really down in the shitter, really. Because I mean, they're not going anywhere. That's why they've been tag team. That's why they've been paired together. They obviously WWE. They don't want to get rid of these guys, but they're never going to push them. They're never going to get anywhere. Mid card for the rest of their lives, I think, pretty much. I can probably see Curtis Axel becoming a jobber, and Ryback becoming a jobber at this rate as well. So
As much as it hates me, as much as it pains me to think, a year and a half ago, like both you and me were so hot on Ryback.
Yeah, I thought
It's
he was.
he's going to be the greatest thing. He's just like a new powerhouse, and he's mean, and he's really over with the crowd. And WWE ruined him.
They booked him into oblivion, didn't they? They really did, in terms of booking a really hot sort of prospect. I know a lot of the internet fans didn't like him. We'll probably get a bit of hate for saying that we wanted him to get big, but he was over. A lot of people were chanting it and getting into him, and then they turned him heel. Fair enough. They want to turn him heel. They think it's going to go over, but they just booked the guy to oblivion. I mean, how many pay-per-view wins has he had in the last 2 years? One pay-per-view win against Chris Jericho, who puts everyone over.
Oh no, I think I saw I think it was last year. It was during his massive losing streak, and it's the last time that Ryback won at a pay-per-view was against Zack Ryder and Curtis Axel. not Curtis Axel. Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins.
It's like, yay!
When he was doing his 1-on-2 squash matches, to prove he was the big, fearsome competitor. So.
Yeah. The fall from grace is almost like a meteor hitting the ground, isn't it? Really, it's just you'll never get back up anyway. It's actually one of the perfect quotes from that is actually from a Fort Minor song. A Linkin Park song that I was listening to the other day. A crumpled up piece of paper can never be perfect again.
Yeah.
There you go. That's exactly a bit of philosophy there for you, and song lyrics into Rybaxel, the laxative for your bowels. Anyway, so Mysterio won that match for the team, but I'm wondering here, where do they going? Where are they really going with this?
Actually, there was one thing about that. You say Mysterio won it. Do you not think it was really stupid? Ryback, big, massive competitor. This is sort of going into the burying of him sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mysterio comes into the ring. Ryback gets out of the ring.
He's scared of the physical prowess.
You're 3 times the size of Rey Mysterio, and you're getting out of the ring.
Yeah, no, that's sort of the same thing along those lines, isn't it? Really, they just they've got no stock in Ryback or Axel. Yeah, I mean, he got the win. He pinned he pinned Curtis Axel. But one of the notes I made here is along the lines of that. What are they actually kind of doing with this? Because I mean, I don't believe that the tag champions have got a match at the pay-per-view, which is sad because they've been pulling out really great ones. Oh, who are they against?
It's that Fatal 4-Way match.
Oh, I didn't even realise that. Okay, so obviously this is what they were building.
I think they announced that on SmackDown.
Oh, okay, so that's what they're building towards anyway. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like a filler match because obviously they haven't got any plans for the titles at the moment. They're just kind of building. Obviously, they've got everything building up towards this unification title match, and I think it would be very bad.
Every other belt, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously going into our predictions later on, but I think it would be very, very odd if they drop the titles to any of the teams involved in this sort of mini rivalry thing to come after. So
we'll talk about that.
Could we be calling Rybaxel the new tag team champions? No.
God, I hope not.
No, we wouldn't. So, HBK comes back out to present the HP Shizzle Award for Superstar of the Year. I would love if they make a reference to this next year. I don't know if they will, but yeah, Brian won, and I think he fully deserves it. If you look at it in the base of what he's done for his character and his status over the year, I mean, you could make an argument.
The growth of Daniel Bryan as a character, it's been amazing. From his issues with his mental health. All the way through anger management and teaming with Kane, and everything's just been progressively gold.
Yeah, and now he's this big main event wrestler who can beat anyone on the roster, and he's only held back by the big guys upstairs and all those lines. But yeah, I can understand why maybe in terms of success over the year, John Cena was champion for all of the year. He lost it. He hasn't been on a show where he hasn't been champion.
Yeah,
pretty much the whole of this sort of well, not the whole of the year because obviously he won it at WrestleMania against The Rock. But I mean, I could definitely make a case for why John Cena maybe thought of it. But you've got to think of the fact that of Daniel Bryan in terms of match quality, in terms of how over and the progression of how good he's got over with the crowd. I think there's no other choice. You have to go with Daniel Bryan, and I think that's. that when you look at anyone else on the roster, they're already established and they haven't exactly made huge strides in terms of changing their character, whereas Daniel Bryan has. So I think that it's ludicrous to even think of Big Show being the superstar of the year. The guy who lost to WrestleMania and was getting beaten up by Sheamus and all that lot. But I think this was. And the reason why I liked him winning this is obviously you had that very awkward sort of standoff between him and HBK when he came to receive the award, which I liked. It wasn't crazy. They didn't go mad into it or anything, but I like the idea of the segment, and I think it was played out okay. But
it was really well done.
Yeah. The thing I like about this, they could have gone overboard where he comes out and just attacks not Triple H, HBK, and just comes out and attacks him. But that doesn't seem like Daniel Bryan to me. So I think the way that he did it just seems right to his character. That he's kind of got.
Oh yeah.
You got to remember he did lock Shawn Michaels in the S lock for God knows how long the last time he got screwed out. So I think revenge has been sufficiently delivered in that case. But I think he's well deserving of that award, and that's good on this CV as well. I mean, I know he's been WWE champion all of maybe 20 minutes in his entire career or whatever, but to have Superstar of the Year on your CV can't look too badly really.
That's it.
Sin Cara and Del Rio.
Yes.
Another victory for Sin Cara, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think WWE are going to start putting some stock in him?
It's definitely looking that way.
Yeah.
It was like I said last week, is a win over Del Rio means a lot more than a win over Heath Slater. Yeah. And obviously now it's sort of the second win. It's just actually, could this be going somewhere?
Yeah, I mean it's a consistent victory line against Del Rio, and I don't know obviously where they're going for Del Rio. I don't know if they're going to have a rivalry building up between the pair of them, or if it's just a thing just to try and get Sin Cara back on the roster. They obviously have a little bit more confidence in this Sin Cara because obviously they feel a bit safer having Hunico behind the mask and.
I've actually put it on a note Hunico is a better Sin Cara than the original Sin Cara.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? Because I've watched Luchador Wrestling. I mean, I'm not saying that Luchador Wrestling is a botch fest. It definitely isn't. And I mean, since the original performer Mystico of Sin Cara, well, he I don't know what was going on. Maybe it was just a confidence issue that it started getting on him. All these memes coming out about him botching. And, when you do that, it becomes you try your best not to botch, and when you do that, it's not natural, and then you end up botching in the ring. I've seen a lot of people do that. So. But yeah, I mean, obviously Hunico, he's slower than Sin Cara. He's not as aerial. He doesn't do a lot of crazy moves. And he does his own share of top rope sort of spins and everything like that. But he's more he's more Americanized in the sense that he started off the match just getting down and dirty, just wailing on
actually going in for the punches, yeah.
Which I think that's the sort of Sin Cara that we should have had from the start. It felt way too gimmicky when Sin Cara first came out and he was just doing all these spins and he was just jumping on the ropes and doing all this. It's a little bit like, well, we've been watching wrestling for years of wrestlers. If they get caught in that situation, they just clothesline the guy. So why are you sitting around waiting for this guy to jump all over?
Oh, you've got loads of momentum. Let's put the brakes on that, shall we?
Yeah.
Whack.
So it just seems very odd anyway, and they haven't got rid of the lighting as well. I think if you get rid of the lighting, I think Sin Cara gets over a lot more, and he gets a lot more crowd response because I think as soon as you put the lighting up, people just kind of don't know what to do about it. So,
I mean, even the fact that I think the crowd were actually in on the match
they were
as well.
Fairly, as more into a Sin Cara match than I've ever seen in recent memory. And also he got another victory. He didn't get as much of a pop than he did for the first victory because I think it was more of a shock. But we'll see where this goes. Obviously they obviously feel they're a little bit more confident with Hunico behind the mask.
Yeah,
so we'll see how this goes. And obviously they are selling a decent amount of merchandise for Sin Cara, so why not give him a little push? See if we make a bit of money out of the guy, and maybe Hunico becomes Sin Cara full time.
Do what business? Yeah. Do what they need to do for business.
I mean, Hunico wasn't exactly going crazy with his own gimmick anyway, so maybe
that's true.
So primetime players presented the Slammy for fan participation. This was vomit free, thank God. I thought these guys were alright. I think they, in a crowd that really didn't want to do much apart from anyone that sort of endorsed or were Daniel Bryan, they got the crowd going. They got like a chant for millions of dollars.
Oh, they got, yeah, exactly. Especially considering they sort of did this whole like, oh, why aren't we in there? And they like crowd really got in behind them.
Yeah, and this is the primetime players that I like. When you do sections of it with them doing this, that's not like completely like comedy, but still sort of still light-hearted, and they're still kind of getting like face pops from the crowd.
Yeah,
but not making themselves like look like fucking morons, where they did with that sort of vomiting gimmick that they thankfully I hope.
And
will
what
rest
was his name? Pancake Pete.
Yeah, it's just.
What the hell was that?
I didn't even think we would, like, last episode that we came up with talk about puke and Darren Drozdov being puke. But anyway, I made a note here, Matt. I think that next time that you and me, we go to a Raw or a SmackDown and the primetime players come out, whenever they do the millions of dollars dance, they pan to the crowd of the people doing it. I think you and me are in a lot of danger of being absolute morons and just going full out doing the millions of dollars dance.
We are going to get caught. That's the only problem. It was when they panned out to the crowd. I was like, there was like two guys, one of them actually sort of trying, and then there was like one person on their own. It's like, oh god, if you and me did this. Like, the camera literally like, them!
It would be, it would be hard to
there's two people who actually seem to want to do it, rather than just like, ooh.
I don't know why, but doing that just makes me want to mark out for these guys. I don't even know why. It's just like, I don't know. Maybe it's just the bromance of it all, maybe. And
possibly.
Yeah.
They might all bury down too, yeah.
Yeah, and it's, not saying that one of us is gay and likes doing the millions of dollars dance, and I won't go into that anyway. Daniel Bryan wins this one with the yes chant,
agreed.
And I made a reference to this before, saying that one of the best shots that they have over Raw each week is the when the crowd, they pan over the crowd and they're all doing the yes chant, and they do that almost every week now because it's such a good shot that they have, is everyone gets up, does the yes chant. So for that fact,
the crowd looks so alive and sort of really the numbers for him as well. I mean, the one thing I didn't quite like was the fact that R-Truth's What's Up was in there. It's like people, like, it's a real hit and miss with like R-Truth and What's Up. But even then, like, even if he does get a hit, it's not a strong hit with the crowd.
He gets a little bit.
You do not get a lot of people replying with "What's up."
He never did get that much. I mean, do you remember when R-Truth came out with like his second entrance music, and he was doing a different song, and literally it died, and he came out for that for like 2 weeks, and then he went back to the original one because literally no one didn't care about it. And it was actually being more detriment to his character than anything else, really. So, but yeah, no, there's nothing bigger in terms of chance at the moment than the yes chance. So, yeah, rightful winners, and he comes out and gets his second Slammy, and yeah.
What else can I say? Yes.
Exactly, yeah. Which you knew he was going to come out with anyway. But so anyway, next match we had was Brodus Clay against Xavier Woods.
If you can call it a match.
Yeah, it was a squash match in every sense of the word, and there was no grey ground anymore. Brodus Clay is now heel, and he's going to be either feuding with Woods, or he's going to feud with Sweet Tea, or with R-Truth, or whatever. He's going to be feuding with one of those guys, and as a heel. This has to be for the better, because I think the whole Funkosaurus spiel has run its course. I don't think you can do it anymore.
There's only so many times we can have someone dressed up as his mama at WrestleMania.
Oh, not that again. That was horrific. That really was. That was horrendous. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm glad that this is done. I don't know what they're going to do with the Funkodactyls or Sweet Tea, or whether they're going to go and do anything, or. But yeah, I'm glad that they did this, because I think it has run its course. I don't think anyone really, when they first came out with the whole Funkosaurus gimmick, it got over a little bit because it was a shock, and when you catch people off guard like that, then it genuinely. You will get a bit of a response for it, and he did for a while. And I mean, he's been doing this for a good, I'd say, about 18 months now. The Funkosaurus gimmick. Are we going to see the monster Brodus Clay?
I'd hope so. If he does sort of come back, if he does go heel, I want him to go sort of dangerous heel.
Yeah, I think that's the only route for him to go now. I don't think there's many guys on the road, especially with Ryback gone as that sort of, well, he never really was that monster heel, but we saw him possibly being that you could bring him on. I mean, not even Mark Henry is the monster heel anymore. There is no real monster heel on the roster. I don't
Kane's
think.
gone.
Yeah, you can't even call the Wyatt family monster heels because they're more creepy. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think there's a slot there for him. I think he could be a monster heel, and he's going to be a lot more physically intimidating as a heel, let's say, than the Miz is. So
yeah.
Talking of Miz, he presented Insult of the Year with Stephanie McMahon being the winner. What was your thoughts on this? Because I thought this was the only thing I thought was odd about this.
I disagreed with the decision.
Okay, who would you have given?
It would either have been AJ's pipe bomb,
yeah,
or Heyman.
I think out of the two, it would probably be AJ's. But I think that what's weird about this is that like they named it Insult of the Year, which means that by definition, insult is a one-word sort of thing, whereas this was more of a rant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of them was more of a rant, and it was more of a continual insult against these people. But yeah, no, I would agree with you. I think AJ, just because of the way that she delivered that with the whole, all you girls do is suck up to all the
that was
brilliant use of applause. So yeah, I thought that was very, very well done. One of her best promos actually. By far. So, no, I agree with you. I'm not really that bothered about it because I think it's a bit of a weird category. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they had a few weird categories. They don't have like a lot of these categories they didn't have last year. They're just kind of bringing in because of that's the sort of stuff that happened this year. So they're just making sort of
just like make it up. It's like, oh, we had quite a lot of this year. Oh well, which one was the best?
Yeah. I mean, I think awards like Insult of the Year should definitely make pass for Newcomer of the Year. I don't know why Newcomer of the Year wasn't on this show.
Actual show, yeah. Just one. Like Breakout Star. Like Breakout Star should definitely be on there.
Yeah, personally I think it is. I think you should have that on there. Especially something like this, it seems very sort of... It just screams WWE.com awards. You know, they had a lot of them delivered out as well. Just should make reference that they won 2 of them. But yeah, that was my only thought of this. I think it wasn't...
No, they did 3.
They said on their promo that they got 2.
It was hashtag Believe in the Shield for Trend of the Year or something like that. Breakout Star, and for like Move of the Year, which was Roman Reigns' spear. So it's like,
well, they only said that they got 2, so I'm just going off what they said on the show.
Yeah,
see, they got their information wrong. So, but yeah, it's sort of weird. It's a weird category, that one for me anyway. But then we come to the match of the night: CM Punk and Dean Ambrose play a very, very long, really high intensity, stiff match. This is what I like about. I mean, I get a lot of questions from people that ask me, why do I watch WWE Raw? A lot of times when I moan about its quality and everything, these are the matches that make Raw worth watching because, when you look at like the likes of CM Punk, when you look at the likes of all the guys in the Shield, they are putting out fantastic wrestling matches. And
definitely, yeah.
I thought this match...
I've literally just got in my notes, like, just a great match, awesome pace, great hope moments, false finishes, the lot.
Yeah. It's got everything that you want in a match.
Could this get nominated for Match of the Year?
Yeah, I don't think it was up to that quality. I think that there's a lot of bigger matches. But...
Right, best match on Raw.
Yeah, this was definitely best match of this Raw. By far. The quality of this one, I'd give this one easy an 8 out of 10. There wasn't a 6 out of 10 on this show apart from that, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
definitely up there. So yeah, fantastic match. CM Punk gets the win at the end with the GCS, and then he gets leveled by Reigns. I think this match is quite a good build-up personally. I know it hasn't had like a lot of promos going into it, but I like the build-up to this match because you get the feeling that CM Punk's going to get creamed, but he's just going to go and just...
Well, he did that promo. It's just like, I know I'm going to get beaten. It's just how many do I take with me?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's completely sold on it now. It's just like, well, we're just going to see a fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in this one. I think it's just gonna be a brawl. I'd like this match if CM Punk just genuinely gets a beating, but he gives a good fight and he manages to really take the fight to the Shield, and you think that he's gonna win a few times. Will he be able to get it? Because then it's realistic. I mean, realistically, CM Punk is not going to beat the Shield, and I think they should run by that as well.
No, we're getting a bit too far into predictions.
Yeah, but I think that this. I love this match.
This was just a great match. It was an edge of my seat match, actually, to be fair.
It's one of those matches that, like, I mean, I don't know why. I think WWE just conditioned me to think this way. But I get the feeling that it's going to end before it does, but then you get an extra 10 minutes of the match. You're like, wow, this is getting really high quality now. You know, these guys are absolutely shattered. They're really going for all of it. So all around, all quality. And CM Punk really has been doing that all year, really, personally.
Yeah, that's
delivering really high quality
matches. CM Punk.
Yeah. So, they actually run. I wanted to make a quick reference to this. Normally I wouldn't because it's just a video package. But the reason why I put this up is they did a video package of basically loads of legends talking about their respective title runs, about the World Heavyweight title and the WWE Championship.
Yep.
I actually really like this video package because the reason why I like this is because you're talking to a lot of legends that have held belts. They didn't talk to the likes of Jack Swagger when the World Heavyweight title meant nothing. They were talking to the likes of Booker T and Dusty Rhodes, and looking at all the Ric Flair, talking about winning the belt and all along those lines. When the belt genuinely did mean as much as the WWE. Yeah. So yeah, I like this video package. It didn't do any damage to the build-up. I think it helped it, and I think it needed a little bit of help personally. But
it's just like, don't forget, better people have held it before.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if they're going to say goodbye to the World Heavyweight title, then at least they're kind of they're doing their best to kind of. I know they buried it at the beginning, but now they're sort of trying to give it a little bit more sort of respect as it goes along. So,
yeah. It's like right off that, then we had the Foley.
Yeah, did the Slammy moment for extreme moment of the year. I love the fact.
I think for as long as there's an extreme moment of the year Slammy, we will always see Mick Foley.
Yeah, I think quite rightly as well. I don't think you can. I mean, he made a lot of references in his build-up to this, saying that, they've really set the bar this year. I completely disagree with that. Obviously, he's just running through what they told him, and there has not been that many extreme moments this year, really.
Not at all.
But the one bit I did like about his particular build-up to this is that he did his usual crowd pop. We've said this a lot before. If you go back through some of our other Let's Talk Wrestling before the relaunch, we said that he does this a lot where he comes in and goes, let's say he's in Ireland, and he goes, I'm glad to be here in Ireland, and they all give him a pop. But then he referenced the fact that he always does that, and and he said, I don't want, I can keep this cheap pop. Something was like that, Daniel Bryan. I'm gonna keep this cheap pop or something like that. I love that.
It was just like, ooh.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I like that. The fact that he knows what he's doing, obviously.
You bitch.
Yeah.
But no, that was an awesome moment.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I like that when I think that sort of era of those sort of promos, kind of looking into that side of kind of making fun of their own sort of character and everything is sort of gone. But brilliant by Mick Foley. And every single time I've seen him on the TV recently, he's been 5-star gold. So more Mick Foley if he's going to end up doing more like this. So.
That's it.
But yeah, no, he's lying in terms of extreme moments being raised this year. No, it hasn't. But CM Punk won with his attack with Paul Heyman, and I have to agree because really there wasn't much competition. It wasn't.
Wouldn't you? Oh, maybe it was before last year's Slammies, the TLC match of the Shield against
Team Hell No and Ryback.
Team Hell No and Ryback versus the Shield.
Yeah, and what is it? Seth Rollins almost died.
Yes.
Yeah, there was no moments like that this year. It's safe to say.
Yeah, I know. Okay, but that was before last year's Slammies.
Yeah,
I was like, surely that's the extreme moment of the year.
Yeah, that was. I mean, technically, it wasn't. It was of last year. But if man, that was brutal, that drop, and that definitely has to go down as.
It was just carrying him out. It's just like, let's go to the lights.
And you go. He was in a different country, really, wasn't he? His mind had rolled out of his head and was rolling down the street. He did not know where he was. But I think what's brilliant.
But I think the nominations for like Extreme Moment of the Year this year were very weak.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I don't really mind the fact that I see him. I mean, yeah, it was brutal enough. He kind of gave him the GTS and he attacked him with the cane loads, but it wasn't exactly brutal. Like I guess it was brutal for this kind of WWE. But when you go to the likes of Paul Heyman and even CM Punk and brutal, that kind of doesn't really go in.
I think if you talk to Paul Heyman about brutal, I think he'll be able to
tell you a few stories.
Tell you a story or two of something that's brutal.
But so fair enough. But we don't expect anything that extreme or anything. So that's okay.
That's it.
The Usos went against the Wyatt family. The Wyatts.
Do you know what I was fearing?
Go on.
I was fearing squash.
Yeah, so was I. This match wasn't a squash, really, was it? It was a quick match, but it wasn't a squash match. And even, I mean, to their credit, the Wyatt, Eric Rowan, Luke Harper. They sold getting a little bit battered, when they were in the ring.
Oh yeah.
So fair enough, but yeah, it was a match, and it was what it was expected to be, pretty much in every sense of the word. You expected the Wyatt family to win. I didn't expect it to be a squash, because I think they put a little bit of stock into the Usos recently. So
yeah.
It wasn't a great match. It wasn't a bad match, but that's pretty much all I can say about it.
I still enjoy watching the Usos wrestle. To be fair.
Yeah, I think they're. I mean, you've got a soft spot for the Usos, always, anyway.
Yeah.
But
I don't want to be his dad. I don't want to be their dad. It's like everyone loves Rikishi.
They didn't exactly inherit his ass, though, did they? Really?
No.
Less said about that than the better.
I guess they took that from the mum's side.
Okay.
There's one thing about the finish, and it was like which was Luke Harper delivering that brutal clothesline, and there's just like JBL just going mental about it, and it's like, if there's one man who knows brutal clothesline.
Yeah. When it comes to brutal clotheslines, you've got a guy that knows exactly what he's talking about. That was a sick clothesline, wasn't it?
That was a proper clock, and you're just like, ooh.
That's why you want him to do that on someone like Seth Rollins or Dolph Ziggler, who could just like flip in the air like 100 times to make that look sick. I hope that you keep using that, because no one else uses. I remember they went through a phase where they were using these sort of moves where they were using the clothesline from how everyone was using the big boot, but it's all about how the person landed it to make it seem really huge. I mean, all it was a big boot or a clothesline, but it's how it was delivered, with that much force, and it makes it look like more savage than any clothesline you've ever seen. So yeah, brilliant. I hope that becomes part of his repertoire, because if he wants to do that looks absolutely amazing. So yeah, fair enough. Great end. And obviously JBL probably had a secret jizz in his pants after seeing that. It was very good. Match of the Year, Slammy, presented by my favourite wrestler of all time, Bret the Hitman Hart. Of which I spelled his name wrong. I called him Bret Yart. So I shall scrub my hands and make them clean. But how the Cena Rock 2 match, which I thought was incredibly poor, wins the award, Matt. It wins.
I couldn't decide which one I wanted, though.
Out of what?
Well, I was sort of tired. I was like Triple H and Lesnar, which was a brilliant cage match.
It was okay, yeah.
I can't remember what the other one. Oh yeah, it was going to be the Rhodes family versus the Shield.
That's my pick, hands down.
Yeah.
I believe that is the best match of the year.
It had the better story to it as well.
I thought the match and the story behind it and the crowd reaction and the general shock of them winning was just, it was so perfectly executed. It was like, out of a really bad show, Battleground was a really bad show. That made it worth me going back and watching that pay-per-view for that match.
Yeah, definitely.
I know you've got a bit of a sour spot because you missed that match, didn't you?
I did.
First time you had to go back and watch it. See, that's always like, that's really unfortunate, isn't it? That
I watched a lot of shit and I was like, it was terrible. And he's like, you didn't see the first match? It's like, no. Oh, I'll have to watch that match then.
Yeah, and it was well worth going back and watching. If you haven't seen it, that's my pick for match of the year. I do not know what they were thinking. Out of all the matches that they had on this, Rock Cena was the worst one. And the reason why I want to say that is because, I mean, we actually did a WrestleMania review back then, and we kind of went into it. But the last 10 minutes of this match, they basically only use 3 moves: attitude adjustment, rock bottom, and a reversal of either of their moves.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much what they did for the last 10
It sort of
minutes.
just got a bit lazy.
It was almost as if they had 2 huge wrestlers, huge personalities that just ran out of wrestling ideas in the middle of the ring, and they did not know what to do on each other. And some might argue that's what they did in the Stone Cold and The Rock match, when Stone Cold's last match. I would disagree, because I think that just Stone Cold had more going for him at that point, and they were building it up as an epic match, and I just think that didn't look clueless. When Rock and Cena were in the ring at WrestleMania, it looked like they were clueless. It looked like they didn't know what they were doing, so they were just going to try their finisher move and see.
I think this is something that I think I discussed this with you previously. I don't think it was on last week's recording, but just like as an offside thing. But kids, like the people who tend to favour apps are kids.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of die-hard fans. I mean, granted, I'm 25 and I have the WWE app. But I know a lot of people around my age group who don't even want it. You
look at myself. I don't. I don't have the WWE app. You can't really count me as a thing. But you look at my wife, who's a general wrestling fan. She doesn't have the WWE app.
Yeah.
So I would agree. I think a lot of kids would have that app, and they would be voting because they think it's.
Oh my God, Cena's the greatest! Yeah. Just vote. Oh, you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Cena!
But even then, I just don't know. I don't know how someone. I mean, yeah, I guess their kids are going to vote for who they think is awesome, and that's obviously going to be John Cena. But I mean, in terms of quality of the match, I would rate that Cena Rock match maybe a 4 out of 10. I know I'm going to sound like Bret Hart now. 4 out of 10. I think that was 4 out of 10. I would rate that Rhodes and Shield match a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And for a 6-point gap
and
in a review
the fact
rating,
that we got a bionic elbow out of it.
Yeah. I just thought that match had everything. It really did, and it was a really good feel good moment. And you were shocked because they managed to beat the Shield back then. The Shield didn't lose matches; they've been losing quite a few recently, but they didn't lose matches back then. And I thought that match was better than the tag team title win that they had, even though that match was still a really good match. So
yeah.
And like I said, we said this last week that we're not bored of these guys going against the Shield yet. We aren't. I want to see another match with these guys going against the Shield. So
I'll have.
Yeah, I definitely, and which is weird because we went through this last week anyway. But yeah, I think this was absolute BS. I don't know why this would be considered match of the year. It did not live up to the hype that they had set. Remember that WrestleMania? They were putting like a video package after every match to kind of build up that match, and it wasn't the best.
I think that they released like a whole like half-hour video.
Yeah.
Like a full half hour, like extra little channel sort of program, like about the whole story of it all, and it's just like,
which is a sour taste in your mouth because they gave so much time into building it up, and they gave the match a sufficient amount of time. But there was a lot of matches on that show that could have done with an extra 5 minutes. So if you spread that out, this year's WrestleMania would have been a lot better. But
well, it's the fact that even like the Undertaker match didn't even. I mean, it got nominated, but it's like surely that could have been amongst it as well.
Yeah. But in terms of like really great matches, I don't see how Triple H and Lesnar gets in there, but CM Punk and Lesnar doesn't. I think CM Punk and Lesnar was better, but that's each to their own. I still think, I just think that Rhodes Brothers and Shield take it. I haven't seen a better match this year personally, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, we're in agreement definitely that someone's been smoking a lot of crack to think that match was even good.
That's it.
I did not think that was. I thought their first match was okay. It served
not
purpose.
Worthy of a rematch.
Yeah, but the second match was very poor. They just ran out of ideas, and it looked like they ran out of ideas, which is horrible. You don't want that to happen. So, we had the main event of the night, Matt. We had Tamina against Natalya. We've got her back, Matt. They've been listening to us, Matt. They've picked 2 fantastic wrestlers, and they've actually given them the main event. The problem is they gave them like maybe about a minute to do their match.
Yeah, that's true. It's just like, yeah. Oh, it's fucked. It's ruined now. Oh, okay.
It was one of
what was that?
It was real wasted potential, wasn't it? Really, it was. I mean, we know that these two women can go. They can definitely do a lot better. But when they get given this amount of time, there's not really much they can do. So I can't blame them for having a bad match. These girls, because I know that they can go. But
I think we actually forgot about Tamina in last week's sort of 2-year plan for the Divas division.
I still wouldn't include her in that. Like we were back then, we said that there was going to be 4 women that we would pick. I wouldn't include her in that because I don't think you want to push her as the face of your female. This is just personally. I still think that she wrestles a lot. I think you could give her really good matches against the faces and get them over that way. But not in 1 minute matches. You know, that's
Oh, no.
that's not how that works. So 1 minute matches where the face beats the heel does no one justice. It doesn't make the face seem any better because they've just squashed someone, and it doesn't make the heel look any good because they just got beaten in a minute. So it doesn't do anything good for anyone except for filling up a little bit of time, I guess. So we move on to the final segment, which was basically they brought up all the former champions, which is ironic because they didn't exactly have very, very good former heavyweight champions in the ring. Really, that Dolph Ziggler, who held the title less time than I've been on the toilet, and
where the hell did Christian reappear from?
Yeah, he just magically reappeared, didn't he?
I was just like, hello, Christian. Oh, what the huh?
One thing I will say, I know we're gonna go into a little bit, but I thought John Cena's promo was actually pretty good. But
Yeah.
For anyone that knows better, you know that he was spewing out a lot of BS in that promo, saying that
It's like that picture of the meme that I sent you, and it's just like, oh, look at Dolph Ziggler, and then I buried who I said no, we should give him a chance, and then I buried him because he said something bad about me backstage, and it's like, oh, look at Daniel Bryan because I needed time off for surgery.
And as soon as he came back, he's not as if Daniel Bryan's in the main. I don't want to go and say, oh, John Cena's so selfish. He doesn't give. Obviously, it's something to do with the management and everything. And I don't see him like going out and trying to kill people's careers. I also don't see him following up on these like little pushes that he gives.
You don't see him killing careers, but you don't see him helping.
No, certainly not. Yeah, I thought it was a good promo, but for anyone who knows sort of the history or anything along those lines, there was a little bit of BS kind of running all over this.
Oh, yeah.
Not really much to do about this, but yeah, Orton came off as being a bit stale. They kind of...
As always.
The one thing that came off from this is that Bryan they decided that if they weren't going to get more time to cheer Bryan, they were just going to cheer him through Randy Orton's segment and
through Triple H. Just like, oh, you want to talk, do you? Daniel Bryan. It's like, okay, fine.
I mean, if they're really that stupid enough that they can't notice that the entire crowd, this is not just his home crowd that's been doing that, have been cheering for this guy over the last 6 months. If they can't hear that, then Triple H either needs to get his ears tested, or he needs to go and get his mind tested.
Yeah. The one thing I quite liked is the fact that Triple H was just like, all these people stood here have etched themselves a place in history, and it's like, there's the great Khali.
I did notice that actually. Yeah.
The greatest heavyweight champion ever.
The guy who probably couldn't say world heavyweight champion if his life depended on it. Dear me.
That was brilliant. I know there's loads of pictures coming around after it, but did you notice Punk's little smirk in the background?
Yeah.
I was just like,
Especially, that was the part when Stephanie McMahon was coming out saying, oh, Triple H was the greatest champion of all time. Which is quite ironic because I know that Triple H doesn't think that. He thinks that Ric Flair is the greatest champion of all time. That's just the general consensus that everyone thinks that. I don't think Ric Flair is the greatest champion of all time because I'm biased. I think Bret Hart was, but I can understand why people would think that Ric Flair is. I know I'm being biased there, so don't go crazy and telling me you're wrong. That's just... my opinion. But Triple H, the greatest champion of all time? No, not really. Not. He kind of led a really sort of really bad era where he would basically just lose the title, win it back, lose the title, win it back, lose the title, win it back, and he accumulated
Cena Orton 2008.
What?
Just like the Cena and Orton's.
Yeah, essentially that. Yeah, they were just basically But you see, the difference is with Triple H then is that he wasn't exactly swapping it with the same person. He was losing it to someone, then winning it back from the month after, going on a 3-month streak, losing it, winning it back from not even Goldberg was safe from keeping the title away from Triple H. So not really much you can say about that. So. Yeah, that's pretty much it, except for the end of this segment, which basically ended...
to come in a clusterfuck.
Yeah, I like the clusterfuck personally. I think it was pretty cool, but it ended basically with Orton leveling Stephanie McMahon. Accidentally, we might add, and him saying, "Oh, he's sorry" and everything like this. But it kind of leads up to as they've turned their back on Randy Orton. They've been building this up for a while that Randy Orton's kind of turning against them. I could see a fuck finish here where they still go with Randy Orton and they screw John Cena out. I just don't see them wanting John Cena to be even slightly considered to be with a heel faction. So I see Randy Orton... I see this as a ruse, and they're going to do a Vince Russo swerve on us, and it was never that.
WCW ruins everything.
Yeah. That's the way I see it going, personally, anyway. And it
Yeah.
was just an elaborate ruse to get the title off. But anyway, we'll go off them anyway. So is there anything else that any notes that maybe I've missed over?
There was final thing about, like, with that final promo is the fact that, Cena was doing this whole, Randy Orton, like, you came here, you were Randy Orton, nobody could touch you, you got given everything. It's like, really, John?
Yeah. He's not.
He was the only person that got given everything.
Yeah. I know he works hard. He's got an exemplary work rate, John Cena. But to say that he hasn't been at least a little bit gifted, yeah, some of that success is ignorant,
yes.
really. That's the real word for it. It is a little bit ignorant, but that's what the people, general wrestling fans think, that he's earned all this off his own back, and he has. I'm not going to say that he doesn't deserve any of it, because I mean, let's face it, like, you've got to have a really high work rate to keep in that sort of level, and he does, and he's good in outside WWE promos and everything. But no, to kind of think that he hasn't had the machine behind him for a good 10 years is ignorant, really.
Oh yeah.
And like, even when this reminds me of a promo that he did against Dolph Ziggler, where he was saying, "Oh, you're saying that you're going to be the next big thing. You've been here for 8 years and you haven't achieved anything." And it's like, yeah, he hasn't achieved anything because of people like you, John. So kind of be a little bit quiet about that, okay? But yeah, that just came off to me. So that was your Raw, the Slammy Awards award ceremony for this year. There was some ups and downs, but it was okay. I found this match a hell of a lot more watchable than last week's, and you had that very good CM Punk Ambrose match this week, which I think you didn't have a match of that quality the week beforehand. So, do you agree that this Raw was a lot better than last week's, which you would expect, as it is the one leading up to TLC?
I'd say it was, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say there was a lot of average matches, though.
There was a lot of, but I kind of give them a little bit of a pass this week, because it is the Slammy Awards and it is more about the awards, I would imagine, than the matches. I think as long as you get one really good match in there, which they did, I think you're okay. But yeah, there was a lot of matches here, like, the Usos, Wyatt family. I think you could have given them another couple of minutes. You could have given Daniel Bryan and Fandango at the start another couple of minutes, even though I do think Fandango isn't at that level to go that long. But there's a few matches on there that if they got given a little bit longer time, then maybe they could have been better. But very time-strapped show, and I don't blame them as much as I would on a normal week of Raw, shall we say.
Yeah.
So, Matt, do you want to lead us through the predictions? And just for anyone here that's coming in, we did do the predictions before. Obviously, for it's a wrestling podcast, of course we're going to do the predictions. But this week, me and Matt are going to go head to head. We have to have a definitive. Right, this is how it's going to work. We need to pick the winner. If it's disqualification, then neither of us get a point. That's fine. We don't get one up on each other. But if we call a storyline change, I'm going to give you 2 points. So let's say that if you say, okay, someone's going to come in, this is what's going to end up. Because that's quite vague. You might not even get that. Then I'm going to give you 2 points for that. Okay.
Okay.
So we get one for correct one. We don't lose any points if we get him wrong. We don't lose any points if it's a DQ or a fuck finish, because WWE seems to like them. And if we manage to predict the storylines that come up on Raw, I'll give another few points. So a lot coming into this now. And I'm going to give you the point tally each month that they have a pay-per-view.
Okay.
And will you do a gentleman's agreement and we put like some money towards it?
Do you want to? What am I going to send it over in the check?
Well, I come over every now and then. You come over.
That's it. Yeah.
Let's say, all right, next TLC next year, because we're going to be doing this podcast way beyond that. We'll do every year. Our TLC each year. We'll put 20 quid on the line. Yeah.
Okay.
Who wins? Okay. So this is a virtual handshake. Okay. So we're now against each other.
Verbal
There's
deal.
war been made here.
Okay. Right.
So, go ahead.
Kickoff match. We've got Dolph Ziggler versus Fandango.
Okay. I see Dolph Ziggler getting the win on this one.
I could agree with that. Well, I don't see any particular story change. For a start, it's the kickoff match.
Yeah.
So half the people watching TLC probably won't see it.
I think the reason why you would have Dolph Ziggler win this, the reason I go with Dolph Ziggler is because, naturally you have the face win the pre-show to get the crowd hot. And if you have the heel win, I'm guessing Fandango wouldn't be the worst heel to win a match at a pre-show, because the fans get into his theme song or whatever like that. But personally, I'll go for Dolph Ziggler on this one. It doesn't really matter who wins or loses, really, because it's a pre-show match and no one really cares. So
that's it. For some reason, they've done this ordering all wrong, because the kickoff match is like halfway through the card. So we've got the tag team championships. So we've got Goldust and Cody Rhodes versus Rey Mysterio and Big Show versus Ryback and Curtis Axel versus the Real Americans. Personally, I don't see the fucking point. Why is Rey Mysterio and Big Show and Ryback and Curtis Axel in there when they've got two set tag teams?
I would much
to
prefer
be a tag team championship match.
I would much prefer the Real Americans go against
Rhodes.
Yeah.
Exactly. As that.
Yeah,
I'd rather literally just take out Ray and Big Show and put in the Usos and take out Ryback and Curtis Axel and put prime-time players.
Yeah, that would be a much better match for me.
We're fixing the tag team division, but every tag team that we currently have can fuck off.
Yeah.
Because we're just going to make some magic ones.
Yeah. So,
but I see Goldust and Cody Rhodes still retaining.
Yeah, personally, same here. I don't see why they would take the titles off them when they haven't built up an established feud. I mean, WWE may just give the titles to someone else, and that's how they start a feud with the Rhodes brothers trying to get them back. But I don't see that happening personally. I think that they come out champions and they retain the titles.
I think rather than it being a fatal four-way match, I think it will definitely just turn into a 4-on-4 heels versus faces.
Yeah, personally, yeah. And the title is almost going to become like sort of second nature in this match anyway. So
yeah, that's it. Right.
Go on.
IC title: Langston Sandow.
Langston
retains. Yep. Could agree.
Yeah. So the reason why I would say Langston retains is it's way too early in his title reign. They're not looking to bury this guy. So that's the reason why I would say that.
AJ versus Natalya.
That's a bit of an awkward one. But the reason why I say that is AJ's actually had a pretty lengthy title reign.
I'd say Natalya.
I'm going to go with AJ Lee win. And the reason I say that, I can understand why you go Natalya. The reason I go AJ Lee to retain is because I think that there's going to be like an interference. So I'm going to go storyline on this one. I think there's going to be an interference. I think that Tamina is going to attack, maybe get DQ'd, and there'll possibly be a run-in.
Oh, okay, so like Tamina attacks Natalya, giving AJ the win by DQ.
Yeah, but then the Total Divas crew come down and they give the beating to AJ, and that's how it ends up like that.
Yeah, but we had that at Survivor Series. That could lead to a clusterfuck, and I don't want another one.
Yeah, I don't want it either. I just see that's how it's going to end. So
okay, yeah. And I see that it'll probably be a Natalya clean win.
Yeah. Which would set up a pretty nice rivalry, I'd say, between the two of them or whatever. But,
Punk versus Shield.
Shield to win.
Shield to win. But see, this is one thing. Is it just going to be a 3-on-1 or is it a 3-on-1? But it's not elimination, is it?
It's not elimination, but it is a tag match, so he only faces one at a time. So
Shield to win.
Yeah. The reason why I say that, I think it's way too early. They've only sown little seeds for Roman Reigns to attack and break off from the Shield, and they wouldn't want to do it that far away from WrestleMania.
In though. Sorry?
I
see Reigns getting the pin. I'd say
he CM Punk levels the other two, and Reigns gets the spear, gets the win. That's how I see it going.
Like Punk goes, he attacks Rollins, he attacks Ambrose, they fall down, he turns around, whack.
Yeah. Or like he gives the GTS to one of them, does the kick on the other one, looks like he's got everything wrapped up, and then you don't even see it.
Like one of those sneaky tags where it's like, oh, I've got him up on my shoulders, and then dink.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how I see it going anyway. So I'm along the same thought.
Yeah. So Daniel Bryan and the Wyatt family.
Oh, this is where I get things a bit awkward. I see, weirdly, Daniel Bryan winning, but in dodgy circumstances, and I believe he will join the Wyatt family, and he will come and attack. I think he's got something to do with attacking the Authority as part of the Wyatt family, whether it be on this show or on Raw or something along those lines.
I mean, my only problem with it is I think it's for him to join the Wyatt. Basically, if the Wyatt family was to beat Daniel Bryan, it would just kill off Daniel Bryan's momentum.
Yeah.
But the same could be said the other way around.
Yeah, I think the reason why I said this is because, in regards to this particular storyline, is because you don't want to kill off Daniel Bryan's momentum. Even maybe like if he joins the Wyatt family, becomes a heel, whatever. I don't think you can join I think you can join the Wyatt family and not be heel if they attack the Authority on the same night, and that way it's like, oh, why has he joined them? And suddenly it's like, oh wait, but he's taken the fight to these guys who screwed him over all this time, and then you can get into it.
The only thing I could imagine is they draw on. Like I'm going to say the Wyatt family, but I'm not saying. I'm sort of suggesting as a possibility that they could draw on the fact of, they stole Daniel Bryan a couple of weeks ago. Nobody knows what happened. Yeah. He just got, we found him in a car park. I mean, obviously, let's keep with the kayfabe here.
Yeah.
Like, so could it have been mind washing him?
Yeah.
So it's like, I know, we've got Bray Wyatt going on about this whole, I know you're a monster. And like what needs to be done sort of thing.
Yeah.
It could, leading up to that, been the whole, that night where I stole you away and I got planted that little bug in your head.
Yeah, it could be along if they're good at writing and they could do something like that, definitely. And then, I think you can have him as part of the Wyatt family, or you don't even have to mention him as being part of the Wyatt family, but teaming up with them to bring down the machine, which is the Authority. And and it could build up to a WrestleMania sort of deal where Bryan finally gets his revenge against the people that have basically tried to screw him over all this time. So I see Daniel Bryan winning.
Yeah,
but that's how I see it going. What's your prediction?
So basically, you're like Daniel Bryan winning, but with some weird circumstances, and there's me, the Wyatt family, winning with some weird circumstances.
Yeah, so there's some weird circumstances regardless.
I think, you know what? I think according to WWE.com, this is the main event.
Okay, so literally, then it's just straight on to the main event. I see Orton winning.
Really?
I don't think it'll be a fuck finish. I don't think it will be along those lines where one of them will grab the belt and one of the others will grab the belt and then they'll have to do another match to decide. I think they've done that before and they've got stuck with it before. I don't think they want to do it. I think Randy Orton will win, and I think the storyline of it will be that it has been that they've kind of planned it all along, and that they've kind of suckered John Cena into accepting this match, knowing that it's been all against him all along. I just don't think that they're going to have John Cena win and him be in the ascendancy leading up to like WrestleMania as like the main guy, and then be aligned with the Authority when they're obviously heel characters. That's my thinking behind it. What's your prediction?
I can agree with that actually completely.
Yeah, so you're gonna go Orton as well.
Yeah, well, it's just like it's actually said. I mean, you can't have John Cena just like, oh yeah, he is now like, what are they calling it? It's not the champion of champions, is it? It's the United Champion.
No, they're calling it the Unified Champion.
The Unified Champion.
It will end up becoming the Undisputed Championship.
Yeah,
that's what it will get called that eventually, because Unified, it just doesn't sound very good. So.
Yeah, but still, that's it. It's just like, oh, our Unified Champion is John Cena, but we can't. I mean, it doesn't quite play into the hands of the Authority because they can't use Cena.
Yeah,
they can use Orton.
Yeah, exactly. So they've suckered. They could do the story. Like, I can just see Triple H coming out the night after and be like, oh, we knew you wouldn't put it up when when things weren't with your back against the wall, and we suckered you into taking this match, and now Randy Orton's the Unified Champion, and both the belts belong to me, and along those lines, they could go with that. So I could definitely see them going that route. So yeah, that's all the predictions done. Anyway, so we've got a few different ones there. We can see if we're right. And
well, I think only one of those things have we actually said would be a different winner, and that's the Divas. But circumstances will be different.
You said that the Wyatts would beat Daniel Bryan, though, didn't you?
Oh yeah, Wyatts as well. So that's two. Okay.
Two, yeah. So there's exactly many matches on the card anyway. You and me think so alike when it comes to these things. I know it's going to be very different when.
I think it's because eventually you get to that point that you have to sort of like. I was about to, when we first started this. Are we predicting on what I want to happen, or what WWE thinks I want to happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think is one of the things you actually get from this podcast, and you won't get from a few others, is that we take into account what I like to call the general wrestling audience and what WWE want to pander to in accordance to them. Because you have to remember that, while, the general wrestling fan doesn't listen to wrestling podcasts, they don't go on the internet to look at wrestling news. They don't go and go out of their way to try and find out what's behind the curtain, sort of thing. WWE panders a lot to that section of the crowd, so you have to take them into account. What do you mean?
Oh no, just because obviously on the WWE.com there's always one match, like the main event, with like who will win and place your vote.
Mm-hmm.
Right, better part of 250,000 people.
Yeah, wow. That's a lot.
Do you know what the percentages are?
Go on.
Exactly 80-20.
To Cena Orton.
Yeah. 80% of people think Cena's going to win.
Yeah. Which I can see. I can still see Cena winning this match, but I don't think it's 80-20. I think it's much more likely that Orton will win.
Yeah.
The reason being, like, they've done this before with Cena going into a WrestleMania as champion.
I think a lot of this is just like, I want him. It's like, who will win? Yeah, Cena, because I want him to win. It's like, it doesn't mean he will win.
Yeah, I think they want him in the Royal Rumble, so they don't want him champion, because then he won't be in the Royal Rumble.
Oh, but then he might win Royal Rumble, and then
I can see him winning Royal Rumble this year, unfortunately. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe they change things, and we'll see how it goes from there. But
that's it. Royal Rumble's always full of various things.
Yeah, Royal Rumble is actually like my favourite event of the year, like even more so than WrestleMania. So I'm more excited for Royal Rumble than anything else. I love Royal Rumble. So, but yeah, there are our predictions for TLC. We've done our review of Raw. So yeah, tomorrow night we're recording this on a Saturday. You get it on a Sunday. So the night that you're listening to this is TLC. So I hope you guys enjoy it. It's got potential to be a good show. It's got potential to be a shocking show. It matters how they go along with it, if they give a lot of the matches the time that they need, and if the 3-on-1 handicap matches are different. If they make it kind of carbon copies of each other, I don't think that you're going to have two very samey matches, and even Daniel Bryan CM Punk wouldn't even be able to save that. So, but yeah, I'm excited about this show. I wasn't excited about the Survivor Series. I think I made that relevant, that I wasn't that interested in it, but this one I am. So
yeah, this is probably the first pay-per-view that I've been excited for a while. And you know what? I'm interested to see where the unification of the titles is going to go. But I'm actually sort of more interested in the handicap matches.
Yeah. And like I said, if they do them very differently and have different storyline elements to them, then it doesn't matter that they're both 3-on-1 matches, because they'll be different. So, along those lines. So, I think that pretty much wraps us up for this week, does it, Matt?
That's about it.
Yeah, so if you like the podcast, if you're listening to this on YouTube, click like. I know a few ones of you have been doing that, and send us a comment if you want to ask us a question, or if you've got anything to say about the weekly stuff that we've spoken about Raw and the predictions that we've made. Or you can also listen to this via streaming your phone. Did you know that, Matt? You can watch it streaming via your phone. If you go to the link in the description, it goes to a Podbean site, and if you look on that on your phone, and you click like the audio MP3 little tab on there, it'll actually stream it direct to your phone. You can watch the entire thing direct to your phone, so you don't even have to like load up your YouTube and let your battery sizzle away. You can just do it on there, and you can even download it to your phone and listen to this. You don't have to be connected to the internet. So lots of different ways that you can watch LTW. There is absolutely no excuse. And yeah, I think apart from that, we'll catch you guys next week. I'll try not to eat anything too bad before we start recording.
Yeah, no chili for you.
No chili, no curry, no massive hamburgers. I'm going to plan in advance what I eat next week. So. Alright guys, thanks a lot for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good time.
Bye.